And hello, I am Lorraine Watry, NWS President. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 2025 National Watercolor Society's Member Exhibition Virtual Reception. Let's begin by recognizing our dedicated NWS board members, some of whom are here today. Lorraine Watry, President. Judy Saltzman, Vice President, Interim Exhibition Director. Diane Chincherek, Secretary. Phyllis Schmedicke, Treasurer. Connie Hendricks, Membership Director. Carrie Waller, Awards Director. Bev Yankwit, Education Director. Yang Chen, Website Director. Gabriel Stockton, Publicity Director. Will Bullis, Newsletter Director. I would also like to extend a thank you to the exhibition team, Judy Saltzman, Connie Hendricks, Kim Gronhag, Mary Jansen, and April Rempo. Your hard work and commitment to our members helped bring this exhibition to life. Thank you. Before we continue, just a bit of quick housekeeping. Our first Tuesday of the month watercolor water cooler link was recently emailed to all members. If you missed it, you can always find it under the members only tab on the website. There you will also find a $25 member discount code for entering the International Open Exhibition, current and past newsletters, and special sponsored discounts. Now I would like to ask Judy Saltzman, Vice President and Exhibition Director, to share some exciting news about the International Open Exhibition.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'm thrilled to be here today for the unveiling of this year's members exhibition and to hear from our juror, Mario Robinson. What a wonderful celebration of talent. Looking ahead, the 2025 National Watercolor Society's 105th exhibition is now open for your entry. Please take time to read the prospectus thoroughly, as this exhibition has different guidelines. This is a signature qualifier, so submit your very best artwork that has not been shown in a previous national or international exhibition. The deadline is Friday, May 23rd. If you have questions or need any technical help, such as the cafe platform, please don't wait. Reach out to the exhibition team or to me early. We are here to support you. We look forward to seeing your fabulous creations. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. This year's member exhibition was juried by the distinguished Mario A. Robinson, and it truly highlights the remarkable talent of our members. This exhibition includes longtime members who have reached the Gold Master and Master status, signature and associate members, and we are proud to feature artwork representing 10 countries and 36 U.S. states. It is now my honor to introduce our juror, Mario A. Robinson. Welcome. Hello. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm going to read just a little bit about Mario, and then we will move on from there. Mario Andres Robinson was born in Altus, Oklahoma, where he resided with his family before relocating to New Jersey at the age of 12. Robinson studied at the prestigious Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York. In 2014, Robinson was chosen to be a brand ambassador for Winsor Newton Art Materials. He is the author of Lessons in Realistic Watercolor, a comprehensive guide of the artist's watercolor techniques. The work of Mario Andreas Robinson fits squarely within the tradition of American painting. Robinson's finished works bear a close affinity to the masters of the realist tradition, Andrew Wyeth and Thomas Eakins. Mario is an exhibiting artist member of the National Arts Club, an artist member of the Salmagundi Club, and a signature member of the Pastel Society of America. His work has been featured several times in the Artist Magazine, the Pastel Journal, Watercolor Magic, American Art Collector, Fine Art Connoisseur, and on the cover of the American Artist Magazine. In the February 2006 issue of the Artist Magazine, Mario was selected as one of the top 20 realist artists under the age of 40. Mario, we are honored to have you here this year and have you as the juror and judge of awards. Would you like to share any thoughts about the exhibition before we start the video?
Well, first, I want to thank you and the staff for having me. It was an honor to do this. When I first set out to judge the contest, I didn't know what to expect, and I was warned that there was a lot of good work in it, in the entries. And the first day, I kind of got the inkling that I was gonna have to settle in for a little bit. And as I went through the entries, it was just very difficult to eliminate any of the works. And it's a testament to everybody that not only entered, but the people that have made it through, in my humble opinion. It's a testament of the strength of your members and the artists. And I walked away with inspired, because watercolor sometimes, as I'm out there on the road, gets kind of like a little brother kind of vibe from oil painters and other people. And I walked away inspired and galvanized to continue with this medium and make it kind of what I know it can be, and it can kind of stand on its own, at least here in this country. So thank you for letting me kind of be a voyeur for a little bit and peek into what you guys have going on as a society. And it was an absolute pleasure. I was exhausted, and it was a good exhaustion. So I'm happy to be here with all the winners and congratulate them and give them their proper due today. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we will play the 2025 NWS member exhibition video, and then juror Mario Robinson will return to give his comments on the award-winning paintings. It's a wonderful exhibition of contemporary water media, truly a celebration of our talented members' creativity and skill. Now I'd like to welcome Mario back to discuss the award-winning paintings. And Will Bullis is going to read the slides as Mario, and then Mario will discuss them.
Good morning, fellow artists. First off, I'd like to apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name. It's not my intent. Thank you. Okay, our first award here is the Milford Zorns Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1941, to Dean Mitchell, National Watercolor Society, Gold Master. Painting is Mrs. Hazel.
So a lot of people I ask myself, what are the criteria when someone's judging something? And my answer would be, number one, the ability to be able to push the medium in a way where it's understandable, aesthetically beautiful. And next would be like the person's heart, the heart person that's kind of delivering these images, whether it's a search for beauty or whether they understand the subject, or just trying to show us just an absolute beauty, like, hey, look over there. And Dean Mitchell is one of those artists that I think has all those things working almost at all times, no matter what the subject matter is. When I looked at this image, I just saw a person that absolutely understands the medium inside and out, and then had the heart. This is what I understand, his mother's portrait, and that's something that kind of stuck with me. And when I look at this image, it was just extremely powerful, and the clarity of the delivery of the medium, it was just hitting on all levels, like many of the pieces, but this one in particular, it was undeniable, the power that was behind this image. So I'm also familiar with Alan Shuptrine. Once it was revealed to me who it was, I had a sneaky suspicion, but I was a fan of his dad Hubert's work, and this just gets to, as you can see in the background, me being a veteran of the U.S. Army, like, Americana sometimes can go a little sweet, kind of go off the rails, but I feel like Alan delivers it in such a classic, beautiful way. And when I saw the composition and the reflections, and again, he's just working on all levels here, just really delivering the image to us in a very concise way. And then we all know that texture on the house is no easy feat. So again, this was just an artist working with a lot of experience, and really got in and out of the way of what he was trying to say to us. This was a fun image. Sometimes, with art, it can be so lofty and serious, and I'm very guilty of it in my work sometimes. But this really made me smile. It was more about obviously the delivery of the watercolor. It has a bright, fresh delivery, but also the subject matter. This is one of those images where the person, they say it to me kind of often, it's like, I wish I could sit down and have a conversation with this image, with this person in the image, because he just has like a sunny kind of disposition to him. And this was an example where the delivery of the watercolorist, keeping it fresh and light, kind of almost matched what I think or believe about the subject in this one. So it just really brought a smile to my face, and I would really love to see it in person, because it's just a fun image to sit down and kind of look at. There's a simplicity to it, to the delivery, but there's also a level of comprehension when it comes down to things, because oftentimes with watercolor it can get overworked, and this person didn't really take that bait, and it's really fresh on the paper.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next award is, I'm sorry for missing the last two awards, Mario. Our next award is the Denise Willing Boer Award, National Watercolor Society Emeritus, President Emeritus 2020 to 2021. Goes to Pablo Ruben Lopez Sanz, National Watercolor Society. And the painting is El Caprico.
This painting, just the foreground really struck me and brought me into the painting. I'm a big fan of really good compositions. And it just led me into the composition so beautifully. And I paint a lot of water in my subjects, in my scenes. And it was almost an optical illusion, the way the lights were bouncing off of the waves in the water. And as I kind of looked deeper, it wasn't just a trick or a device, because sometimes, someone can kind of trick you into thinking that it's more than what it is. But as my eye went back into the background and started examining it, it really held up in all levels. And of course, it's on a screen, but I use my zoom on almost every single one. And that background really held up and just really lent a lot of power to the foreground. And I think one of my first comments on it to the staff was, I just want to ask this person how they did the watercolor. Like, what is it, wet and wet? What is it? Is glazing? But yeah, it was just operating on a really high level as far as execution is concerned. That's up to you, Pablo.
Our next award is the Delmer Yoakum Award, National Watercolor Society President Emeritus, 1961, to Mo Mira, Associate. The title of the painting is Aligned.
This artist, I had suspicion that this was Mo's work. I had the pleasure of meeting Mo on Zoom, and I love the tones that Mo uses in her work. It's very measured, and there's a very low chroma content, so it just almost has an atmospheric quality to it, and it's a very beautiful way of delivering a subject that can possibly seem mundane to the rest of us, but taking that color out of it and taking the sweetness out of it kind of raises it and gives it some gravitas as far as the seriousness of the images. Somewhat like Andrew Wyeth did, he used very mundane imagery, but when you take the chroma out of it, it's almost like a black and white. You can really appreciate the subjects a little bit more than the color kind of beating you down and distracting you. And I just absolutely love the way Mo delivered this image and the light in it. The light is hitting just the right way. Like you can see on the back of the cow on the left, it's just splashing light in that highlighted detail to kind of create the form of the cow. So when I look at works like these, Mo's not really that old. It really gives me a lot of hope for the future as to where this medium is headed. I think it'll be in good hands with artists like Mo.
Our next award is the Gerald Brommer Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1968 and 1982, to Roberta Oliver, Associate. The title of the painting is Love Glistens.
Love glistens in this one, indeed. Like, I think everyone that would look at this would first off see how well executed that duck is. And it's oftentimes we talk about the white of the paper being used as a device in watercolor. And it is something that you can use, but oftentimes it takes us sometimes over the cliff, and all of our, the way we kind of wrap the values around it sometimes can get a little off, can get a little dark. So the trick isn't really as effective as we want because the whites just aren't justified in nature. But this is a really good example of using the white of the paper and then using those beautiful shadows for the feathers and on the back of the neck. It just lends to a very high level of execution, and it's almost Trump Lloyd when you really get down and look at it. The last thing I looked at was the softness of the ripples of the waves, you know, like they're hard when they need to be hard right up against the bodies, but as you come to the forefront and blur that out in the background, it just really heightens it. And lastly, I don't know if the artist is masking out in that reflection or not. Either way, it's just absolutely striking when you look at what you can do with watercolor and how you can just take that range and expand it when you are working in a high color key like that. So again, just this one was a lot about the execution and being able to use the medium and stretch it and bend it to the artist's will. And I think that's something, whether you speak the watercolor language or not, I think any viewer would look at this and really appreciate the fact that that light is just splashing on its ducks like that. It's just really beautiful to look at.
This is the Lao Sprung Award, National Watercolor Society President Emeritus 2003 to Ram Krishna Paul, Associate. Title is A Bygone Era.
Beautiful. Ram Krishna. What can I say about this artist? It's beautiful when I kind of go back and look at who it might be. I had a sneaky suspicion that this was Ram Krishna. Ram Krishna shares Andrew Wyeth kind of love for the American tradition, and you can see it right out. You know, when I look at that background, it almost looks like somewhere where someone would be working. You know, and then the composition, the first thing I noticed, like the way that shadow, the thin line of that shadow is pointing down to his head, just bringing you into the composition and pointing to the subject. Those kind of things, whether they're intentional or you just inheriting that based on the scene or the reference, is beautiful to take advantage of. The composition is beautiful, putting him down there in the lower part of the paper. And lastly, again, using the white of the paper, using that light, middle, and dark story to kind of create a level of illusion, it is just absolutely beautiful. And when I look at an artist like this, you know, there has to be a love not only for contemporary watercolor, but when you look at the tones and the way the delivery is given to us, there has to be a level of understanding of what watercolor has been through and ultimately putting your stamp on it, and not necessarily repeating the past, but kind of furthering those ideals. And this could have gone so wrong if Ram Krishna didn't soften those verticals on those shadows on that aluminum. It could have been so distracting, almost like jail bars, but he got through it. And that's another thing I try to look at with each one of these artists. It's like, where are the pressure points? Where are the more difficult things, whether it's a portrait or waves or repeating lines like this, and how the artist navigated it. And I know how quick you have to kind of get in and out and do that kind of stuff. And it's a little bit of a chemistry lesson with the water to pigment mixtures. So hats off to Ram Krishna for this one, because it's just, again, from the composition to the muted tones to the devices used to keep things kind of on the rails and not distracting us is really, really beautiful execution. So congratulations to Ram Krishna.
Our next award is the Donna Watson Award, NWS President Emeritus 2004 to Lana Privatera, NWS signature member. Title of the painting is Pink Day at the Office.
I love the pinks in this painting, and I like an artist that understands the color wheel. Like when you look at, you know, that almost red-green story right there, there's something, when I look at this, it just has such beautiful harmony. And it almost has a Trompe l'oeil it's almost like watercolor showing off a little bit, like, hey, look what we can do. You know, normally Trump Lloyd's associated with oil painting, but there's just almost a tour de force in the way this painting is executed and the boldness of the crop here, you know, because there's nowhere to hide. Once you crop something in like this and you close the viewer in, we're going to be forced to investigate every single thing in the painting. And Lana she really didn't disappoint. She didn't miss. In the china, even the roundness of the flowers on the china is just pitch perfect. So, and this just feels like, again, if you're going to do watercolor, take advantage of those whites and the way you can elevate and lighten the color schemes. And it just feels like sun splashing through a window. And the shadows are so beautiful in this, because a lot of times shadows have a tendency to get kind of either too warm or too cool, but they have just a beautiful step down, especially in the cup in the forefront, a step down in the value string from one value away from that cup. And then if you look to the left of it, there's a darkness there that kind of weaves itself through the flowers as well. And just the crispness of the flowers. There's a lot of attention to detail. So again, what we're seeing, hopefully what we're seeing and what everyone will see is the variety of the ways that watercolor can be used. There's not just one staunch way to use it, and there's not a hierarchy or a priority on portraits with me, at least. So I hope there's a beautiful range for people when they're looking at it, and just really celebrate what water really can be at its best.
Our next award is the Joseph Stewart Cook Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1977, to Jorge Corpuna, Associate. Title of the painting is Sacred Valley of the Incas.
This is just the amount of depth that Jorge really got in this painting, because, you know, the foreground is right there, but then as you go up vertically, it feels like your eye is going back in space, and it's just a beautiful illusion that when you look at it. And I just wanted to investigate more into the background. And then lastly, I don't know what this texture is, but it's good to ask questions when you're looking at someone else's work. Like, how did he achieve this texture? And it seems very planned out. It seems very intentional. And I love when artists are very kind of dug into their ideas. And it's also really good when it works, because it does keep it from looking really flat, especially in the background. The temptation is to make something really flat and light, but there's still a level of texture, and you can still kind of want to read it. And it's just absolutely beautiful. The tones are beautiful. And this is also somewhere that I really would love to go. Like, and that's the other thing when I'm looking at artists, like, would I want to have a conversation with this person? Would I want to own, you know, this china from the last piece, or would I want to just take a beautiful long walk in all this serenity in this valley? And that answer would be yes. So this was almost a no-brainer. And I think we're all getting a sense of how difficult this job would be for anybody if they were tasked to weed out hundreds of beautiful paintings that come across your screen like this. So congratulations, Jorge. This is just a beautiful work, and I can only imagine seeing it in real life. That's the other part, when I'm looking at the painting on a screen and then glance down and say, wow, this is 15 by 22. It's almost a full sheet on the sides. Like, really incredible job at managing all these different elements, the textures and whatnot in nature. I know how difficult that can be. So congratulations to Jorge.
Our next award is the Irma Attridge Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1966, to Sergei Lisic, NWS. Title of the painting is Baltic Light.
Baltic light. The warmth in this painting just got me. I normally paint generally in cool tones. But when I see other people using warms really well to draw that eye in, it's refreshing. And then I love the treatment on the left on the trees, where it's just I can almost feel the brushwork. I can feel the energy that goes into something like that. And then having the wisdom on the right to do the tree a little bit more flat and really gives that tree on the left and like the room to shine, and it just works for the composition. And the last thing is the texture on that plank, on that dock. Anytime I see something like that, where watercolor really doesn't want to do that, and you have to go after it and get it, and kind of reverse engineer it, it warms my heart, because between that texture on the dock and the texture in the tree, it kind of keeps my eye right there in the middle of that composition, kind of bouncing back and forth, and the boat is a little bit of almost an afterthought in its treatment. So I can almost visually walk that dock from the foreground all the way to the back and just keep coming back. And it's a beautiful device. Again, a lot of this might or might not be intentional, but for a viewer that doesn't have a lot of investment in the creation of it, it absolutely works. And it's an incredible painting.
Our next award is the Linda Dahl Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1994, 2012 through 2014. To Kimberly Muse, NWS. Title of the painting is Jewel Tones.
Kimberly, this is a great example of trompe l'oeil. Let me tell you, like the reflections, it's kind of easy to just get trapped into those reflections and say, wow, call it a day. But when you really investigate the execution on every single component of this painting, you start to realize that realism is not just a device. There's a level of care. There's a level of love for the still life. Not just, I can kind of feel it's not just set up and copied. And I've painted a few hydrangeas, and the flakiness, the lightness of the petals kind of creates this almost fake kind of look to it, where you almost think it's like paper. And these flowers have that realism to them. And my favorite part, there's lots to like, but I love the kind of bluish wash on the purple that kind of binds those two flowers together. And then the richness of the cloth, that has to be built up. It's not just a one take, it's just not a knock-in. So I can appreciate having to navigate around the jar multiple of times to get those darks on the left. So congratulations, Kimberly. This is just, again, beautiful trompe l'oeil.
Our next award is the Lee Jesse Wexler Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1987. To Ming Kin, Associate. Title of the painting is The Lady.
Ming Kin, again, on the opposite. I love that this is going the way it's going, because you can see, at least in these two examples, how there's a crispness, there's a tightness to the delivery, and then on this one, the beauty of it is the looseness and the almost effortless way that the white of the paper is treated. So it kind of brings you into the portrait, into the face, and the face kind of has a level of tightness, of resolve, that's lent largely because of the loose parts that kind of surround it and ultimately drop you off almost into nothing at the bottom. And I love the confidence that an artist would have to deliver it that way, especially to enter it into a contest. You know, it can kind of either hit on one level or the other. You can either say you put very little effort into it, or you kind of crazy like a fox. And the tones in this are absolutely beautiful. And the action that's going on in the background, although it's not, you can't really make out what it is, but it almost feels like the whole background is like coming at you. And there's almost a loudness to it. And lastly, I love the lightness of the face. There's such a confidence to kind of knocking in a couple of layers in that face and letting it live like that. And there's just so much going on around the face, and then the calmness of those beautiful washes. I love the intricacy. I love the confidence of a person knowing when to kind of stop, because I feel like if it was a little bit more filled in on the bottom, it wouldn't have the same resonance. So I love the sketchiness. I love the artist letting us into the process. And again, it's just a beautiful example of seeing what one artist can do when they really follow through and go the extra mile and do every single kind of stroke in the painting, and then what someone else can do with a different temperament. And in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, there's a beauty to the effortlessness, almost riding the wave of what watercolor is giving you, and going with it. And then again, looking at the sizes on a finishing note, this is a full, keeping in mind, this is a full sheet of watercolor paper. So it's not just like this thing where you can, it's not a small sketch where you can just get handsy on it. These washes are big, bold washes coming across on the right and the left. So again, another example of what watercolor can do in the range of the different working properties you can approach it with.
Our next award is the Jonathan Scott Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1952. Goes to Yong Chen, NWS. Title of the painting is Taking a Break.
This is another one of those that made me smile and I could identify with. I think getting to this one a little late in the process, I was almost kind of looking for a nice place to take a break. And it was just a few things about this that really drew me to it. First of all, the color story is very concise. You know, when you start talking about blues, you have a warm blue in the shirt, you have a cool blue on the ground, and, you know, and then you have almost like a cerulean kind of up above his head, and I don't even know what that textural quality is. Then you have the green bottle on the ground, so the blues kind of keep you in this loop. There's even kind of blue on the left on that kind of supporting pillar, and doesn't make you guess about what the artist is intending as far as tones and color and that kind of delivery. And the last thing is the white part of the hair. Again, a good example of using watercolor as a device, because there's so much difficulty in it, as we all know, but when you can get those moments to kind of make it work for you, it's almost like it's a portrait of light, because the light is kind of like the fifth wall, and you're looking at that hair, but you're also feeling the brightness of the day. And even on the frontal plane of the face, where the beard and the mustache are, is really lending to the form, which sometimes can get hard to do because watercolor is such a flat medium. But it's almost like it's almost giving the illusion between the dark on the neck and the white part of the frontal plane. It's almost giving a roundness, and I love that optical illusion when that happens. And beautiful treatment of all these inorganic properties, like the ground and that pillar, and then the flatness of the shirt. So it's giving me a lot of different varied properties as far as inorganic and organic elements in the painting. And again, those blues are just creating a beautiful color story. You know, and again, playing with the color wheel with that almost orangish and the blues in the painting. I love it when someone kind of just really knows what they're doing, knows their way around a palette. So moving on.
Our next award is the Dana Bartlett Award, NWS President Emeritus 1921, to Jackie Dorsey, NWS. Title of the painting is A Bridge Too Far.
This one it was striking because the black versus the white of the hair really made it hard not to look at it. Black sometimes, and we just discussed, I just put forth that whites are something that you can use as a device, and you should probably lean into it, especially when you're painting outdoors. It's really good to use it. But the blacks, the darks sometimes are hard to come by, and you have to really treat them with respect. Me personally, I mix up all my blacks and kind of manufacture them, because I don't find that the blacks are always the best when it comes to the way they're manufactured. But this was a really good use of using that black and just kind of simplifying things and flattening them out and setting the stage for that portrait, the face to just come forward with those striking eyes. And it was that kind of sideways glance that kind of left more questions than answers on the table. And I had the pleasure of seeing this one in person. And again, it's not a small painting, and it has a presence, especially, you know, surprising for someone so young in a painting, but it definitely held the wall. And that was a pleasant surprise. And the boldness to put that kind of shadow coming across, which I don't think it would be the same painting or that visually interesting without that obstruction that kind of cuts the painting, comes through the composition and cuts it in two, because then we have two different things to be focusing on and looking at through two different lenses. So again, I had to do this time and time again with each painting, and there wasn't a small amount of paintings to investigate. But giving each one the due diligence and wondering, you know, why this works. And I think that was one of the reasons that I chose this one, because of the complexity and the boldness to kind of cut that in half. And it's just beautiful. And the fact that it's almost a full sheet is another factor. These things aren't easy to navigate. And keeping the softness of the face without a lot of watermarks on it. Young flesh tones texture of a young face can be very difficult, because if you look, there's no real presence of laugh lines or hard lines under the eye. So again, there's a lot of water being used and a lot of experience to be able to do that.
Okay, our next award is the Rex Brandt Award, National Watercolor Society President Emeritus, 1948, to Judy Saltzman, NWS. Title of the painting is Sweet Dreams.
I'm glad I didn't know this was Judy's, because I'll be biased, but I did not know that until now. But I love everything in this is, for me, a little off kilter, but beautifully graphic in the delivery, and the headboard, that beautiful blue up against that white is just incredible. And it almost has the quality of a collage. So it's kind of easy sometimes to set up either a model or a reference and just kind of know what you have, go back and forth. But there's a level of mystery in the way this painting is given to us. And I love the background. I love investigating it. I love like wondering how it was composed, what the real scene looks like. It almost looks like it's like a painting version of a Photoshop. And then when you look at the title, you know, it feels to me almost like a dream where everything is a little bit off kilter. It's real but surreal at the same time. And this painting was really striking, and there's just so much going on, but it's not confusing. And I love that splash of white on the bed. It just comes in there and just messes up the whole thing, because I can just really just get lost in that white. It's so crisp and stark, and there has to be either a window open or bright light on. And again, it's not a small painting, so all these things have to be thought out. They have to be executed, and you get one shot. And that white is just, I think if it was a little bit darker, it wouldn't have the same impact, because the negative space creates such a beautiful shape that's dominating the composition. So congrats, Judy. I mean, his painting speaks for itself.
Our next award is the Julian Ellsworth Garnsey Award, NWS President Emeritus, 1929, to Judy Zyme, Associate. Title of the painting is December 26th.
I think Jody speaks for us all. This was certainly my reaction. It might as well be entitled Mario Andreas Robinson. This is what I felt at the end of this beautiful journey. It was just an absolute pleasure, but a lot of work to try to get it right. And what I will say about the painting, outside of just capturing just such a universal feeling, is that white of the beard. There's such a confidence to leave that white and fill in just a little bit of tone in there, leave that graphic kind of quality in the painting. And it's just such a bold way of delivering this. And again, this is a full sheet, so you have to really go after the washes, the glazes, and the use of color. I'm always amazed and impressed by people that can rein in color this way and make it feel like there's almost a technicolor to it. There's not a lot of sweetness to it. It's delivered in such a way that I can really appreciate the color. And the fact that this room is that bright and he is that wiped out on the day after Christmas. And I was like, I love the play on the fact, whether this is just me projecting onto it. It's like, is this Santa Claus? Like, you know, so I love when people answer questions for me in paintings. And I also love when people leave questions open-ended. It really got my imagination going. But again, lastly, I think we can all identify with this gentleman here and what he's escaping or running from. So this is one of my favorites here.
And our final award today is the Scholarship Award, donated by Joanna Barnum to Vanessa Thorman, Associate. Title of the painting is Belle of the Ball.
Belle of the Ball, beautiful title. I love the stance that the artist took on this one, where there's no background, but you know that if you deliver a painting, there's no background, the foreground is going to have to be able to carry the day, and it really does in this painting. And I think it'd be a different painting if it were in a field or up against a barn. Being able to be this close to an animal that is not generally domesticated, it almost makes you want to investigate this animal up close. And how many of us get this view of the animal, and also just the composition that cuts diagonally through the paper, through the composition is absolutely incredible. And then weaving that white of the paper, using that negative space to where it's not just a stamp cut out up against that white. You know, the white is weaving in and out of the coat of the cow, and it's just a beautiful. I think this can be done very effectively with a human as well. It just so happens to be a profile of a cow, but I think this would be a very strong device if it were a human as well. And I love the bluish tones underneath it. Again, I just talked about the difficulty of nailing down dark sometimes, you know, but when it's done like this, you can see the warmth of the brown in the ear, which kind of riffs and connects the snout with those warms, and then that beautiful blue on the coat, on the profile. It's just absolutely incredible. So there's a lot to investigate. It might seem simple, and sometimes the most simple paintings are some of the more complex to pull off. So congratulations to Vanessa and everyone that we talked about today, and the people that didn't make the slideshow, but everyone did an incredible job, and I'm sure are still going to be doing incredible jobs after today. And I'm just happy to have been a part of it. And thank you all for letting me do this and wear myself out.
Yes, please take a drink. Thank you so much, Mario.
I mean, in the judging. No, today's a victory lap.
Yes. It's always so enjoyable to listen to you. That was a masterclass in appreciating water media in all its many styles and forms. And I really enjoyed, I know the whole team enjoyed working with you, and we appreciate your time and effort.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. I didn't wear out my welcome with the National Watercolor Society.
No. Thank you so much. If you would like to see more of Mario's work and see what workshops he may have coming up, please go to his website and make sure you put the A in there, so it's marioarobinson.com. And yeah, we hope some of you will partake of all that he does for the art world.
Thank you for sharing it. And again, thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I guess I should take off and let you handle your business. I'll stick around and listen to some of the housekeeping maybe. And
sounds good.
But thank you.
Thank you. We encourage all of you to submit your entries in the 2025 NWS 105th International Open Exhibition. And the deadline is May 23rd, as we mentioned before. And we have super awards as always, and we hope that you will join us for the reception in October. And then don't forget to join us for the watercolor water coolers, a new member perk that we are doing, and our jurors of selection for the IOE, or the International Open Exhibition, will be the speakers, and we will do a Q&A with them at our May 6th watercolor water cooler, and those are 4:30 Pacific time, so make sure that you adjust for your time. So we will have Ian Stewart, Michael Holter, and Bill Hook join us in May. And then I think that was it on that. And so I just want to say again, congratulations to all of the award winners and all of the participating artists in this year's exhibition. Your work is very inspiring, and we hope this exhibition fuels and encourages your continued water media journey. And thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate it. Have a good day.